Hello, John.
Hello, Lilou.
It's good to be connecting through the internet with you and speak about your awesome project. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
I want to hear all about how the Thank God story and series and books have started.
Okay. Lilou, it's what a journey it's been.
Yeah.
What a journey it's been. There are a couple of main things that happen, Lilou. Uh, I've been studying this concept, this understanding that there's an underlying perfection, there's this underlying order that exists in every moment. And that often it's our own minds that is eluded by the perfection that exists because we have these emotions that we're experiencing. We experience a death, we experience cancer, we experience, whatever it is, a divorce, someone cheats on us. And so when we're going through the trial and we're going through the tribulation, it's not so easy to find the perfection that's existing in the moment, right? So I've been studying this concept since I'm like about 22 years old, and I decided to make a life of studying that concept. And I worked with a lot of people when they were going through their trials and their tribulations and helping them get back to discover this perfection, this underlying perfection that exists. And a few years ago, my mom passed away. She was 56 years old. And that was fairly young. We were best friends. So it hit me pretty hard. And I realized I was personally not really honoring the perfection that existed. I wasn't clear in seeing the perfection that existed in my mom not being here anymore. So about a week later, I stopped myself and I said, wow, this is my test. This is my major test right now. And I spent the next month alone looking for some of the signs, looking for the qualities that my mom represented to me. Because I knew that energy or matter couldn't be created, destroyed. I knew it changed form. And I worked with other people in looking for where their mom was in their life. So I spent the time looking for her nurturing qualities. I spent time looking for her tenderness. Even some of the battling she did with me. I spent the time to look for, well, where is the transformation in my life? Where is she present? Where is she's present in my life? And I even looked for, well, what are some of the advantages in my life in terms of the time that are happening right now? I'm becoming different. I'm thinking different. I'm being more nurturing to different people. I saw actually myself being to other people some of the things she was to me. So I spent about a month looking for this, and I was able to find pretty much every quality in my mom, in the field, and the people around me, until I had this moment. I met this woman named Lorraine. My mom's name was Lorraine. She was 56 years old. My mom passed away at 56 years old. So here I am in Florida, and all of a sudden, a month later, I meet a woman named Lorraine that's 56 years old, like my mom, who just passed away. It's pretty strange, right? She's from New York. She's smoking a cigarette. She's drinking a cup of coffee. I mean, we got some serious, similarities going on here.
Mm-hmm.
I turned around to my girlfriend at the time and I said, I guarantee you this woman's birthday is January 9th. So I then looked at Lorraine and I said to her, excuse me, Lorraine, when's your birthday? And she turned around and she said to me, January 9th. And that was the day my mom passed. Now, I know the odds of finding another woman named Lorraine that's 56 years old and from New York City and smoking a cigarette and drinking a cup of coffee and is born on the day that my mom passed away, and I called it, are pretty infinitesimally small.
Yeah. So what
and it was no
happened in that
coincidence
moment?
that in that moment, I was able to write my Thank God My Mom Died story.
Right there.
She helped me transcend. Helped me transcend the illusion between life and death, to honor the eternal presence of now, and that all we are is present in a different form of now. And I don't think she could have ever given me a greater gift.
Tell us more about that. That's fascinating.
So it was really fascinating. I really couldn't ask for a greater gift. And in fact, she was part of the beginning of a whole series that now has thousands of people writing their Thank God I stories. In conjunction with that, I was working with women who were through victimization. Several of them were raped. And these women, they certainly weren't blaming themselves. Well, actually some of them were blaming themselves what happened, and they didn't want to do that, but they also didn't want to be labeled as victims. They didn't want to be victims their whole life of what happened. They didn't want to get defined as that in their life. So in working with them, several of them brought to notice that one of them became a black belt. Another one started a radio show. Another one started a center for women. All of them felt that they were more empowered as a result of what they went through. They had, they were able to set boundaries for themselves. They spoke up for themselves, and each one of them were able to write a Thank God I story about their experience, and they wanted to contribute to the series.
They didn't felt like they did what they are now doing to compensate that event that they had in their life. They were actually truly connected beings that you saw that truly forgave themselves.
They truly brought themselves to the point where they really were able to see that the universe hands me support, and it hands me challenge, and I'm thankful for the challenge, and I do love who I am as a result of this. I actually do love who I am. It has served me in my life, and they literally were able to write it from their hearts.
So what is your recommendation for somebody that really faced death or violence or traumatic experience?
Well, the first thing to do is become clear on your emotions. Become as clear as you can on the emotions that you're going through. Try to bring them to surface so that you're not suppressing them or repressing them, and bring them to surface. If you feel that you need the need to hire someone, or hire a psychiatrist or a psychologist or professional, by all means do. By all means do. I would recommend, in working further, is to have a journal for yourself, and to bring up and out what those emotions are first. And then to look at each of those emotions and go through them one by one and say, how do each of these emotions even serve me in my life? Because even though we label some of the emotions as positive and some of them as negative, the truth is that we're oscillating back and forth between these positive and negative emotions, and they're both serving us equally. The key is to bring us to the point where we can see how they're serving us, and to go through, how did this emotion help me physically? How did this experience help me mentally, spiritually, financially? And look through all of your life. Did you become closer to people? Did you study something? How has it served you? How has it served other people? So that you could balance out the experience that this was only a negative thing in your life, so that you could see there was an equal amount of positive in your life. Not that it was good, but not that it was bad either. To get to the point where you can see with wisdom, there was a perfection, a positive and negative to this, the way it is right now. And bring yourself to the now.
Awesome. So now you're doing a whole series with other books are coming out, more stories, more synchronicities are happening.
Yeah, Lilou. It was amazing. Yeah, obviously, this isn't isolated to just going through victimization or death, and there's all kinds of death, there's all kinds of emotional circumstances. There's people that are going through being cheated upon. There are people that have gone through a divorce, or people have gone through a myriad of circumstances. At this point, we've had thousands of stories. It takes a lot to drop my jaw at this point, because there's so many stories that have come in at this point. So what's happened is we're creating a different book for each challenge that people have been through. If they were through alcoholism, if they've gone through a family member being an alcoholic, if they're going through divorce, or a family member's been divorced, if they've gone through being betrayed or being cheated on, we're releasing, and we're still collecting stories for these individual titles, and people can do that through our site at thankgodi.com. And they could apply.
Let us also know.
Yeah, they could go to thankgodi.com and they could submit their story there. And we're releasing individual books. This way, if you've been through a divorce, here are 60 people that have also been through a divorce, and they all went through different challenges. And here's how they were able to balance out their perceptions and see that there were an equal amount of, there were all these negatives, but here are some of the positives I found. And if you're a reader and you're going through divorce right now, you could pick up that book and you could read each story and find, well, there were some positives this way, there were some positives this way, there were some positives this way, until you get to the point where you're like, I'm thankful for what happened with an open heart, and I see the perfect balance. Not that it was more positive, Not that it was more negative, but I see the perfect balance.
Tell us more about that balance in life and how
So
important it is.
it becomes a really a way of life. Um, I've a lot of students a lot of clients that I consult with, and they'll come to me intermittently when they're going through a challenge, and then ultimately over time it becomes less and less, because when a new event happens in your life, if you start looking for both sides, then when a new event happens, instead of waiting a year or 3 years or 5 years or 10 years or 20 years or a lifetime to look for the balance in something and thinking that was bad, I didn't want that, that was bad, I didn't want that. It becomes a thought process so that as you're going throughout your days, as you're walking throughout your life, when something does happen, you're looking for the balance as fast as you possibly can so that you're in the place of presence with it so that it doesn't affect you for, like I said, months or years. It's something you're integrating into yourself as I'm thankful for it as it is as fast as you possibly can. So it becomes a way of thinking.
Do you think like so big highs in life and can also have a negative effect, or then we need to bring in, or life brings a negative situation to go back into balance?
Well, yeah, whenever we do have some big high in life, we're going to experience some low attached to that high. And this is not to say that we're going to escape that pattern. We're going to experience highs about things. The human mind fantasizes. The human mind has nightmares. That's the process of thinking. That's the process of being. That's the process of expanding. We're never getting rid of that. And this isn't about living a perfectly balanced life and not experiencing emotions. What it is about is becoming aware of when those inflections do happen and these highs do occur. What was I high about? What was I addicted to? And observing it and bringing it to the place of seeing the perfect balance faster so as not to run on an exorbitant high, to have an exorbitant low, to be more balanced in your views on a consistent basis. And actually, by doing that, Lilou, you experience more of the wide array of emotions that exist because you become more aware when you're experiencing emotion and an opposite emotion, and you become more dedicated to balancing them out one by one by one.
So tell us, where are you taking now all of this? What's happening? Are you gonna make a movie out of it? Are you gonna? I heard you're
We are.
touring
We're
the
working on
U.S. I want to hear all of that.
Lilou. We're touring and we're interviewing you right now. As you interview me? Uh, yes, we are. We're working on a documentary now for Thank God I. We were just featured in a film called Discover the Gift alongside the Dalai Lama and Reverend Michael Beckwith and Marianne Williamson. We're very fortunate to be in that. It's been released in Germany, and it'll be released in the U.S. in March at discoverthegift.com. People can look at it there. And we're working on our own documentary, and we're releasing an entire seminar series. Lilou, we're actually walking people through writing their Thank God I stories in the room right there. So here we are, right at there, right at the workshop, right at the seminar. Go ahead, whatever your challenge is, whatever you're dealing with, we're assisting the people in the room in writing their stories so that they can bring to present time consciousness, so that they could transcend whatever it is in their life and bring it to a place of, wow, I can thank God right there in the room for that challenge in my life. Yeah, we're touring with a whole seminar series around the world next year.
There's a lot happening in 2011 now with all of those tools and all those people coming out.
Yeah, well, I just had a meeting this morning with one of our team members, one of our authors in Australia, and about a workshop that we're doing in Melbourne. So from Melbourne to LA, off to Maui this weekend, and just sharing with the world, because everyone really does have a Thank God I story, because who doesn't go through a challenge? We are all going to go through challenges, and that's the point, Lilou. The point is, we're going to go through challenges. They're different for each one of us, but ultimately, the only way to transcend it is to find the balance of it and bring it into your heart and say, I can thank God for that. And I would just rather help people do that as fast as they possibly can.
So what's your dream?
Well, my dream is I'm really pretty much living my dream at this point.
Yeah.
I'm living it, but the dream is to take this out to the world so that everyone is writing their thank God I story, so that everyone has a clear thank God I moment, so that people can clearly realize, hey, I'm going through something right now and it sucks. And I'm pissed. But you know what? There is another side to it. And here are some of the tools that they can get through our authors, through Thank God I, that can help me transcend this so that I can live my dreams and I could share my uniqueness, because every single person has a uniqueness. And beyond these emotional challenges and the stuff that we go through is the unique gift that every one of us is. And my dream is to help people liberate that unique gift. And the more balanced they are as they go through life, the more they'll get in touch with that unique gift and share it with humanity.
Thank you, John. What a delight to be speaking with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Lilou, and thank you for being that gift.